I had a crash cart come into my room. All these nurses and all the staff came into the room, and immediately I was like, you know, Jasmine, put on my worship music. And I was like, I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all gonna do, but God is gonna move in this room.
At the gate, yeah. God don't make no mistakes. Watch your fate, bruh. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Jaleesa, aka It's Just J Renee, and this is My Life Interrupted. So my last story, you saw how I got diagnosed with ampullary cancer, and now I'm gonna share my experience with the surgery. The surgery I had was called the Whipple Surgery, and they removed half your pancreas. They removed my entire bile duct. My gallbladder is completely gone. I feel like there's something else, but I'm not too sure. I'm like drawing a blank. But those were they had to reattach my intestine, because to do this whole surgery, they had to detach my intestine and then reattach it. So I had to go into the hospital 6 a.m. They did the whole, I couldn't eat anything. I was on a liquid diet the night before, and I couldn't eat anything for a few days after the surgery. I was miserable. I love to eat. So I checked in, got my gown. My grandmother and my mom and my sister were with me the day of the surgery. They normally do not allow you to have that many family in the waiting room, but they allowed them to wait, and they just had to alternate between coming to see me in the surgical prep room. My sister was first, and I've shared how close me and my sister are. My sister was first. She didn't even want to let my grandmother and my mother in the room. That's how attached we are to each other. We will sit on the phone and not say anything. It's just the comfort of knowing that she's there, because we're in two separate states. But anyway, she didn't want to let them come in, and I had to be like, Jasmine, you gotta let mommy, and you gotta let them come in. So she switched out. Mom, I think grandma came in, and then mom came in last. But they were going over the anesthesia. I had to sign some forms. It was just a lot. I was hungry. I don't think I was anxious at that point. I had already prayed and was like, Lord, your will be done over this situation. I know you're gonna carry me through this surgery. I think surgery took 5 or 6 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And then they rolled me into recovery. Before surgery though, in my head, I did say a prayer for everybody. Once I got into the operating room, I did say a prayer for everybody. So the surgery happened. They put an epidural in, my back. They said it was to help with the pain. And then I remember the anesthesiologist going, breathe in, breathe out. I think I remembered him doing it 3 times, and I was probably knocked out. And when I woke up, they wheeled me into recovery first. And then after recovery, I hadn't seen my mom or my sister or my grandmother. They were not in the recovery with me, and I was also in and out of sleep. That's how good the anesthesia was. And then they're all right, we're gonna move you to recovery. Again, I was very drowsy. I remember when they were wheeling me, I see my grandmother, and I see my mom, and I see my sister, and they're not used to seeing me that way.
Hi, my boo-boo. I love you. Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
My sister had a really hard time dealing with it emotionally. I found out after the whole, I found out weeks after surgery that she had called my friend Nicole, because when she saw me being wheeled out the ICU, she was the one who was supposed to stay with me overnight. and she said she told my friend Nicole, like, I can't do this. And I don't know what she said. She ended up staying overnight because my mom's like, well, somebody has to stay with her. So she did end up staying overnight. The deal was that she'd stay at night with me and go home in the morning to do work and come back for the night shift. So ICU, I was there the night after surgery, and then I think I got a bed the next day. Like the day after surgery, I told the nurses I want to walk.
And then later, if you always want to go for a walk, and when you turn,
April 30th, 1968.
So, they took me automatically. They were like, it's not heard of, but prepping for surgery. The main thing I was told by other patients that have gone through the Whipple surgery is you have to walk. Walking is key to your recovery. And yeah, I'm a workaholic, so I'm like, I'm not about to be out of work for months, because the stories I was hearing was people would get the Whipple surgery and they were in the hospital for weeks to months. And I was like, I can't do that. It wasn't, I don't know what it was, but I was like, no, absolutely not. This is not gonna be my recovery story. I'm not gonna be in the hospital for months or weeks at that. So I told my nurse, I'm like, I wanna walk. So I walked. I stayed in ICU one night. So the night of surgery, that was the night I stayed in ICU. I was able to get up, move around. And they were like, even though I wasn't walking as fast as I normally walk, like everybody was amazed at how well I was walking, just being the day after surgery. So I walked, and then like towards the evening, it was like the afternoon, they were like, oh, we have a bed for you. Like, we're ready to send you up. So I didn't stay in ICU like a full 24 hours. Also, I kept telling my nurse, I'm like, I have to pee. And she's like, you're peeing. Because they had a catheter. They had me hooked up to a catheter, which I hated. Then they moved me to my room. And I was still on the floor where I had been first like treated. So I was able to go back to that floor. Thank God, it was such a nice room, desk, everything. I'm laying in the bed and I think I see police officers outside my door. And I see what looks like an undertaker with, he had a stretcher and he had this red velvet bag. So I'm hearing them, they have my door wide open, so I was able to see all this. So this was my first night in the actual hospital room where I was staying. And my neighbor next to me, he was an elderly man, he passed away. I wish they would have my door closed so I didn't have to see that, because every time somebody went into that room, I could just be like, I was just thinking like, oh my God, the guy before you passed away. Every time somebody went in, and like every time there was a patient, I'm like, look, took the guy before the last guy passed away in that bed. So that's all I kept thinking about anytime anyone would come in the room. But yeah, he was an elderly man, he passed away. And like you could hear the nurses talking like, oh, he was so tired, he just didn't want to do this anymore, like he was ready to go. So I saw the police officers, I saw them wheel the body out. This was my first night. I told my sister came up for her shift, I told her like everything that happened. And she was like, what? But that was the first day. The second day, the nurse comes in that same night, and he's like, you have to pee this certain amount for us to remove the catheter. Or the catheter, we're gonna remove the catheter, but you have to pee this much volume, or we're gonna put it back in. I was like, say no, say less. And now I gotta pee. And I think they gave me like a time. It had to be like by 6 o'clock in the morning. I had to have peed this much. So I like went to the bathroom, I think 3 times, and was able to meet my quota to remove the catheter. Now I did have an NGO tube in my nose. It was flushing out the bile or some kind of liquid. It was flushing out of my stomach. So I had an NGO tube. I could barely talk. My voice was so hoarse. It was in so much pain. I don't think I talked for 2 or 3 days after surgery. I had to literally write everything down that I needed. I did have my laptop with me in the hospital. Like I said, I'm a workaholic. I work full time with the medical, like with Northwell. I work full time. And then on the side, I have a travel agency and I have a marketing business. And it just so happened that the time I was in the hospital was the time that everyone's payments were due. So I had my sister was like, hook up my laptop because I gotta take this payment. Somebody was ready to pay. They called me. I didn't even tell my clients I was in surgery. That's how dedicated to my work I am. I do have like someone over me, but I guess they were having a hard time figuring out how the the last person's payment plan worked. So they weren't able really to help her. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. So my voice wasn't the best. And this happened to be my aunt's trip, like her birthday trip that she plans every year. This happened to be someone that was going on a trip with her. So I take her payment and my voice is, I'm not as like bubbly as I normally am. And she called my aunt and she told my aunt like, oh, something's wrong with your niece. And she just didn't sound the same. Like, I think something's going on. And my aunt called me and was like, you are working while you're in the hospital? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, no, absolutely not. You should not be doing that. We'll talk to the other lady. And I'm like, okay, I won't take your payment, but I am going to help my other clients. Like, okay, you'll be the client that I don't help, auntie, but I'll take the other ones. And my aunt is 7 years older than me, so we're closer in age, like sisters, but not really, because I still call her aunt. She doesn't like when I call her aunt in public, but it's just a habit that it's hard to let go of, because at the end of the day, you're my sister's mother. I mean, you're my mother's sister. So like, she was so upset that I was working, but that helps my mind like relax and not think about what's going on. So I was editing a few videos in my bed. I would sleep occasionally. Then the nurses would complain like, you are up too late. Why aren't you sleeping? And I'm like, cause y'all coming in and out my room like all night. So how can I sleep? So I didn't really get the best amount of sleep when I was in the hospital. Cause they come and check on you all the time. Like, there's someone always coming to your room, always wanting to talk to you. But anyway, the NGO tube stayed in my nose for 3 days. And then they finally took it out and I was able to be on a liquid diet. Liquid diet lasted 1 day, thank God. Because if I had to eat Jello and apple juice for 1 more day, I think I was gonna scream. So all the fluids came out. I was able to drink water, apple juice, the Jello that they gave me. I barely ate the Jello. I was not happy. Like it did nothing to like soothe me, and I think that's why I also lost a lot of weight, because I have lost, since my surgery, I have lost over 40 pounds, which I'm really working to keep it on. My weight has been fluctuating since chemo, going up and down based on like some days I can only eat soup, and some days I can eat regular food. But that's another video. We won't talk about that. We're gonna get back to the hospital. So I was on the liquid diet for 1 whole day, and then they monitor everything. They were like, did you go to the bathroom? Did you do number 2? And I'm like, no, not yet. So they gave me something to help me like go to the bathroom. And I was able to eat like, I think the day after the liquid diet, I was able to eat like full meals. I couldn't finish it all like normal, and also didn't really like everything that they were giving me. The food wasn't giving what it gave the first time that I stayed in that hospital. So I was just like not really like happy. I would tell my sister, bring me some soup, and they were like, are you eating? And I'm like, yeah, I don't like the food. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. The food is not doing what it's supposed to do for me. It was like a hit and miss. That's what I'll describe the food. It was a hit and miss. Breakfast, I could only eat toast. And then one night they brought me pork. And I'm like, I just had the Whipple surgery. Why would y'all bring me a barbecue pulled pork? And they were like, oh, well, the doctor said you can eat anything. But I'm like, yeah, no, I'm still supposed to be on a high protein, low fat diet, because that was the diet that the doctor put me on in between surgery. High proteins, low fats. So I don't think barbecue pulled pork met that requirement for high protein and low fat. So I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to be on a high protein, low fat diet. A nurse picked my meal. She didn't ask me what I wanted. She picked my meal. That was the first meal, I think, since the surgery. That was the first meal. And then it was just like a hit and miss with all the meals. So occasionally my sister and my friend Elissa, they would bring me like soups or fats or something, they would bring it to me. It was really hard to eat. I couldn't eat like normally, like I normally could. I used to eat, my portions were, I would only be able to take like a few bites, and then I would be full. And apparently with the Whipple surgery, that is what comes with it. I was feeling nauseous, and it was just really hard for the few weeks after surgery. It was just so hard to eat. I've never experienced anything like that. 'Cause like I said, I love food. I am able to throw down normally. But after the Whipple, my eating has changed completely. So there was some drama that did happen, like while I was in the hospital. I stayed in the hospital for 8 days. So the days that I had my NGO tube, I was not able to take my thyroid medication because they said there's no way to put my thyroid medication through the IV. So one night I had to go to the bathroom, and I remember I also had my period. I didn't say that. I had my period while I was dealing with this recovery. Had my period. They also didn't give me the thing that you're supposed to breathe in, because apparently my lungs collapsed and I was in a lot of pain. Like I could feel my lungs trying to expand. They collapsed. They didn't bring me the tube that you're supposed to blow in. So that was the other issue I was having. But I had went to the bathroom. My mom and grandmother had to have only been gone for 2 hours. I go to the bathroom. A nurse comes running into my room and she's yelling 225, 225, 225, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And she's like, my sister's like, are you okay? I'm like, I think I'm a little dizzy, but I'm not really sure. And they told me that my heart rate went up. Can't remember the number, but it was like, it went up so high that it was a concern for everyone. The nurses, everyone who was there. Like I had a crash cart come into my room. All these nurses and all the staff came into the room, and immediately I was like, Jasmine, put on my worship music. And I was like, I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all gonna do, but God is gonna move in this room. And I remember my mom and my grandmother walking into the room, and the worship music is playing, and they're checking my vitals, and they're telling me we may have to send you back to ICU. And I was like, no, I'm not going back to ICU. And the guy was like, can you turn this down? I'm like, I'm gonna turn down a little, but no, because you are the nurse, but God is gonna use y'all to turn this around. That's how my thinking was. God is gonna use y'all to turn this around. I didn't say all of that out loud, but I'm like, you continue working, but I'm gonna listen to my music. And immediately the atmosphere in the room had changed. My sister recorded like the moment when I was praying, because eventually my heart rate did go down. And then I had a nurse, I can't remember her name, but there was just such a sweet spirit about her. And I think that was one of the things, like she was there at the right moment. And I remember I started praying for her. I started praying for like all the workers. And then like I started praying for the future, like where I could see God taking me. Because during this whole process, my mom's question is, what is it gonna look like for you after this season? Like you're in this season now, but what is it gonna look? What do you think you're gonna do? Like what is next? Like my mom is always asking questions like, what's next? And I know God is gonna get me through this. Like I have no doubt in him. I have faith in him 100%. He's brought my aunts and my grandmother through cancer. My pastor, he's healed from leukemia. So if God has done it for them, then I know that he can do it for me. And like that is what like I was just praying. I was like, Lord, you did promise me to see the world, and we will see the world. Like I'm gonna insert the clip and you guys can hear for yourself the prayer. I have never shared this prayer with anyone. My sister sent it to me, and like I didn't even remember saying any of what the prayer was. So I'm gonna share the clip really quick, and then we'll come back.
You're here in this room right now, God. Doing the miraculous, Lord. You're bringing my temperature down, God.
Yes, Lord.
God, you will help this gas pass,
Yes,
Lord.
yes.
God, I feel your presence all over me, God. God, I thank you for the connections, the people that are sending me, that you are 100% for me, God. God, I know my finances, God.
Bring it up, Jesus.
My finances will be taken care of, God. If I have to take 2 months off, God, you will provide,
Yes.
Lord. You will provide for me, Lord. God, I
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, walk
God, I thank you because you've been so good to me, God. Even when I left your side, Lord, you have been so good to me. You've never forsaken me. When I cried out and I did not hear you, God, you were still there, Lord. Lord, and I thank you, God. I thank you for giving me the faith, helping me find my faith again, God. Move every distraction, Lord. Every distraction that will keep me from you, God.
Yes.
Remove it, Lord. God, I thank you for Jasmine, Kimball. I thank you for Dana. I thank you for Maxine, God. I thank you for Alyssa, and I pray that you would touch them tenfold.
Yes.
Whatever financial situation that they are going through, experiencing, anything they're experiencing on their job, give them favor, Lord God. Any enemy attack comes against them, like money flood, God, block it, God. Let them know that these are your children and they cannot come for them. Whatever job they're waiting for, God, the finances that Maxine is waiting for her daycare, God. Lord, send it in, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
Jesus.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
You're about to move in a mighty way, God.
Yes, Lord.
You told us in November that we would face trials,
Yes.
but you're getting ready to move. You're getting ready to heal and deliver and set free.
Yes, yes,
And I receive your blessings, Lord.
Yes.
I'm ready, Lord. I'm ready, Lord.
Oh, yeah,
I'm ready, Lord. I'm ready. You're about to move in a mighty way, Lord.
Lord, our Lord God,
Anything
Lord,
is possible.
you're my secret.
And I will not deny what you can do, God, because you've been a good, good Father, God. I will travel. I will see people healed and set free, God, in your name. As we go to sleep tonight, God, I pray that you would just bring us peace, Lord, and comfort us. And anything that the enemy, any attack that the enemy has planned on it, I rebuke that attack in the name of Jesus. My heart will be stable, Lord. I will not be moved to the ICU, God. I am declaring it right now, healing in this room, God. There is healing, and I do not deny your power, Lord. Thank you, God. In your name I pray. Amen.
So after they had got my heart rate down, my mom and grandmother did not want to leave the hospital because they were really concerned. And it was late. It had to be 2 in the morning at this point. They were exhausted. I was like, Mommy and Grandma, there's really nothing y'all can do. Y'all just need to go home. From that point on, the doctor started giving me thyroid medication. They put me on propranolol, which I had taken like a few years ago with another doctor, but she retired. My endocrinologist retired. So I had, like I said in the last video, I had not been going to see an endocrinologist since she retired. I was basically like, I've been dealing with this since I'm 6 and I'm still here. But like, I went into a thyroid storm. That was a thyroid storm that I experienced with the heart palpitations and everything. So they put me back on the propranolol, and then they gave me methimazole. They kept offering me oxy and for the pain and like the epidural. They were like, push this pump. I can honestly say, besides being I only experienced the period cramps and the lungs collapsing. I had no pain in the incision site, nothing. Like, I could not explain it. I got up every day that I could and I walked. At one point, they put me on quarantine for a day because they gave me a medication, like I told y'all before. And it was to help me go. But I was going too much for them at that point. So they were like, oops, she probably has CDiff. And I'm like, but y'all gave me a medication. I didn't find out I had that I was on quarantine until I came back from imaging. And my little brother Brett and his fiance Destiny, he's not my blood brother, but he's like someone I call my little brother. And his fiance Destiny are sitting in a room with what looks like gown. I'm like, is somebody delivering? And they're like, oh, no, they told us we had to wear this to come in and we have to, and I'm like, what's going on? And then my nurse was like, oh, we have to now test you for CDiff because you're going to the bathroom too much. And I said, but you guys gave me a medication to help me go because I wasn't going. Does this make sense to y'all? They're like, no. He's like, no, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was irritated because then I had to call my grandmother and I had to say, you know, Grandma, don't come because they are now testing me for CDiff. And I don't want to affect you in any way. And I don't think my sister came that night either. So I think I was alone that night. I think that was one night I was alone. and then they all came back the next day. I can't remember. Some of this is a blur, but I just remember being annoyed because I couldn't have visitors. And my friend Christina, who worked in the hospital, she was coming to visit me. I had to text her and tell her, like, they telling me I have C. diff, don't even bother coming. Next day we found out that I did not have C. diff. That was all a waste of my time. I was really annoyed. Like I said, I stayed in the hospital only 8 days and then I went home. I had so many visitors come and visit me. Like, of course, my friend Dana came. My friend Nicole came. Nicole took me walking. Jasmine took me walking. And I would walk almost every day except the day that they thought I had C. diff. And then people would like promise to help me walk and they didn't come and help me walk. My brother walked me. I wish I had footage of that, but I don't, because I thought that was so sweet that my brother walked me. Like, I don't know. When I was little, I used to follow my older brother around a lot, and mommy was like you just so, she just like, you really loved your brother as a kid. So I don't know, it just was like, yeah, I have a lot of moments with my sister, but I don't get to share a lot of moments with my brother because he does have his own family. So like him walking me was like, I think one of the highlights of my stay in the hospital. So my brother walked me, my friend Nicole walked me, my sister walked me a lot. My sister really was on top of the nurses. Like, she's not getting this, she's not getting this is a problem. So I really appreciate her for that, because she would hold them accountable. And the thing I gave them a little grace because a lot of them were new. There's a nurse shortage going on right now. So a lot of the nurses were new. So I was a little bit more understanding than my sister. But like, they all helped me walk. And then one day I was walking and my sister was like, I didn't have anything to hold on to either. Some days I would have to be holding on to somebody. So I was walking and I was walking at a really fast pace. And my sister was like, oh my gosh, you're going so fast. And like some of the people I would pass by, they would be like, oh my Lord, like, oh my gosh, you're walking really fast. So I was like, oh really? I am? It was like such an exciting moment to be able to walk.
Look at her walk. Look at you go. You're walking so fast.
Nurses and doctors came in and out of the room every morning like they did the last day. But it was like the 8th day, I'll never forget, I was ready to go home by the 8th day. I'm like, why am I still sitting here? And they're like, oh, you gotta get back this. We gotta get back this. There was no explanation for why I had to stay 8 days. I was so hopeful like to go home. Finally, Dr. Wong, he came in I think the morning and he was like, you know, we're gonna try and get you discharged today. Then I had another doctor come in and say, no, we can't discharge you right now. We have to wait for whatever. And like, I was just so annoyed. And then my friend Angel and my friend Rich, their husband and wife, they came to visit me my very last day. And I was like, because Angel is such a praying woman and so is Rich. So I was just like, the doctors, when they were there visiting me, like the doctors said, oh, we're gonna discharge you. Like, if you wanna be discharged, you can be discharged. We really don't need what we thought we needed. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, it's because of Angel and Rich. They're praying people. Angel and Rich are the reason I'm going home. And I told my mom that. I was like, I don't know, the right people just walked into the room. She's like, you're crazy. But I was like, you don't know Angel and Rich like I know them. It's their presence, something they prayed or whatever. Because I was telling them like, I'm ready to go home. I'm going crazy. And I told mommy, I was like, don't tell grandma I'm coming home. So they wheeled me out of the hospital. I got in the car, we drove home, and I was like, I texted my sister, I was like, don't tell grandma I'm coming home, because I wanted it to be a surprise, because as far as she knew, I was staying another day. So I go in the house, and I yell, Grandma, and she's like, you're home. I'm like, yeah, I'm home. And like, she was just so happy to have me home. And my grandmother was such a big help for the after hospital experience, because there was a lot that had to be done. She had to pack my wounds. She had to help wash me, because there was a certain way that, and thank God my mom and my grandmother, both nurses, because if I didn't have anyone with like medical knowledge, I would not have recovered I don't think I would have recovered as well as I did. The week after leaving the hospital, my grandmother took me to go walking in the mall. So we walked around the mall, like a small portion. Roosevelt Field is like one of the mega malls in America. It's huge. We didn't do all of Roosevelt Field. We walked up the stairs and walked around a small portion. I think we were by Neiman Marcus. And we just walked in a circle until I couldn't walk anymore. And then I was hungry. Ended up taking her to the Grand Lux to treat her, because she has been taking care of me. My aunts, both my Aunt Lisa and my Aunt Erica, they came to visit. At that point, my appetite still wasn't great, still dealing with nausea. I went a full 31 days out of work. I was on FMLA, and then I told my doctor, he told me, he was like, when you're ready to go to work, you let me know. So I finally was like, I can't do this sitting at home. Like, I work from home, but I can't do not working. I'm looking at PTO, I'm looking at everything. I'm calculating in my head, I'm like, okay, I wanna go here, I wanna go here. Like, there's just so much that I wanna do. And I was already home. My aunt bought me an overbed desk. I can do it. I feel like I can work. So my birthday was August 29th. I celebrated my birthday. And then the day after my birthday, I went to work. My mom was like, are you sure you wanna? And I said, yeah, I'm ready to go back to work. So 31 days, I mean, I was doing travel stuff and I was doing marketing stuff, well, attempting to. I did sleep a lot during my time at home after the hospital. And then when my grandmother had to leave at a certain point, my mom took over and did the packing of the wounds. I did have the drains. So I had drains I had to keep track of while I was home, and grandma and mommy, they helped me do that. My aunt came, my Aunt Erica is into fitness and health. She came to help me like with my dieting and eating, because the concern was like I wasn't getting enough nutrition in since I wasn't able to really eat. I just had like such a help from family and friends. Like I said, my sister took care of me while I was in the hospital, making sure everything needed to get done. And then you got my friend Dana, who always checks on me and like calls to see if I'm good, and she encourages me. And then my friend Nicole does the same thing. So I'm like just really grateful for that. Of course, my brother and sister-in-law are constantly checking on me. My nieces wanting to make sure I'm okay. Right now, I'm still like slightly recovering from the Whipple. The Whipple was in July and it's now December. So July, January, February, July, August, September, October, November. So we're about 6 months since I've had the Whipple. Occasionally, like going through chemo right now, I do feel the symptoms sometimes from the Whipple. Like I can tell when it's chemo and I can tell when it's Whipple, and sometimes I wake up like my stomach does a little thing, and then like gas is not normal. But yeah, I'm recovering slowly but surely. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Just remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you live life to the fullest and spend time with the ones you love. Take care until next time.
At the gate, yeah.